I'd like to introduce Dr. David Dreyfus, Board President. He will say the welcome.
Hey folks, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate everybody taking time out of their evening. This is really the beginning of sort of a new era in the district. As part of our strategic plan, not only did we talk about student achievement and facilities and finances and technology, which you're going to hear about tonight, a big part of it was communication, making sure everybody is up to date, people understand what's going on in the district, and have an opportunity to have sort of public forums where it's more than just looking at it on the website, more than just getting information via rumor mill. This is actually an opportunity to hear it from the district, hear it from the administration, the teachers, everybody who's involved in the process. So again, we have an excellent presentation this evening by a lot of really talented people. So thank you very much. Sit back. We'll make sure everybody's home in time for the second half of the Bears game. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dreyfus. At this time, could I have my board members please stand? I'd like to acknowledge them. We have Mr. Lunsford right here. We have Mr. Simmons, Dr. Dreyfus, and Ms. Langston, and Ms. Marks. Where are you at, Ms. Marks? There you go. We have our other two board members should be coming shortly. I want to thank the Board of Education for giving us this opportunity to share with the community where we are going. We have a very aggressive agenda that's ahead of us. I'm sure that all of you have seen our agenda. You've heard about what is going on, and it's in light of the Common Core and our technology that's coming down. So we will explain more of this at the end. We'll give a few minutes for questions. We hope to answer all of the questions for you during the presentation. In addition, I'd like to thank all of you for attending, and I'd like to thank you for entrusting your children with us on a daily basis. We try to do the best job that we can, and we appreciate all of your support. As I said earlier, this is our story on how we look at the 21st century learning. And with 21st century learning, it deals with core standards, it deals with our big six. We will explain all that information as we go through. Our speakers this evening are presenters, and we'll start down. As far as this goes, we have Dr. Dreyfus, we have myself, we have Ms. Conley, if you raise your hand. We have Mr. Bauer, we have Ms. Scanlon, we have Ms. Camilleri, Ms. Johnson, we have Ms. Labella, we have Dr. Wark, Ms. Wilson, Mr. Dominski, Ms. Tomasino, and Mr. Mark Waller. Last year, you had the opportunity to speak to the CEC, that's Consortium for Educational Change. They spoke to anyone and everyone who wanted to speak with them. And what they did is they gathered information. We did a district analysis. With that analysis, there was a lot of information that the district saw. And we took a look at that, we analyzed it, and we have a committee called the DLC. And that committee is the District Leadership Committee, or Council. And what they did is they took all of this information and they put a focus to the information that was given to us from everything that all of you have given to us. And we call it the Big Six. We have 5 years to get through this. Once that 5 years is up, we hope to have all this implemented. The core standards will be fully implemented, our technology will be implemented at that time, and we'll see a difference. We have a paradigm shift in our school district as a way of thinking and teaching. So, number one is implementation of Common Core. Number two is development of Common Core assessments, alignment of data and instruction. Number four is investigation of homework and grading practices. Number five is organizing and monitoring school-wide data. Number six is communicating and managing initiatives. In addition, these are coupled with the strategic plan. Many of you a couple years ago were involved with that, maybe answering some questions on a survey, and we have the areas that it's coupled with, and that's student learning and achievement, parent and community involvement and communication, finance and facilities, school structure and organization, and professional development. This is an example of one of the strategic goals as far as communicating out to the public. This right here, this is our 21st century mission, and it's very, very important, this mission. We talk about it, and we came up in a group last year, we presented this to the board, but it states, today's student knows only a digital world. Computers and digital devices are not a luxury to the 21st century learner. They are a daily tool for living. Computers are a textbook, research tool, communication device, organizer, and homework help. Technology is no longer a separate component in education. It is embedded in its fiber. And how this really hit home to me is we were doing all of our research. We went to Apple corporate headquarters in Chicago, and that was in December. They showed us a cartoon of 7 children and 1 teacher that were on an airplane. And what that teacher had said is that now I need you to turn off all of your electronic devices for the next 7 hours, and you can turn them on after the plane lands. That hit home because that's what's going on in schools right now. Kids are used to using technology, they're used to working with it, solving and figuring out, and when they were coming to our school district, we would have it shut off. We want to change that way, and that is what we're doing. Next, we have 21st century learning. The world has changed. Well, the world's changed in more ways than one. This picture happens to be my baby daughter. And the world's changed for my wife and I because we have a 15-year-old, 11-year-old, and then we have an 18-month-old. So many things have changed, but what's important is how children take a look at technology. For example, here she goes, here's one of my tools. She's holding a phone. I tell this to many people, but one day I was sitting and I had her in my lap. I had my 10-year-old daughter at the time who was sitting beside me, and my 3-year-old nephew who was in another town. We were FaceTiming each other, and we were talking, and they were all laughing, etc. That is something that I saw in Star Trek when I was a young boy. I couldn't believe that something like that would happen. At this time, my daughter is 18 months old. She will get on an iPad, she'll get on a phone. She's starting to talk now, but she knows how to hit play on movies. She knows how to use an iPad. It's very innate in what they want to do. They take these risks. That's where our children are. Those are the children that are coming into us. They all know how to do that. Here's a video I want you to watch on 21st century learning.
Probably the most important thing for kids growing up today is the love of embracing change. I mean, the catch for preparing students for the 21st century workforce is how do you get kids that have curiosity and a questioning disposition? We've called it in the past the gaming disposition. Is if you look at the disposition of hardcore gamers, such as World of Warcraft, Mouse and multiplayer games, the surprising things you find, contrary to what people think, is these kids, first of all, are incredibly bottom line oriented. They want to be measured because they want to see how much they're improving. And in fact, the most common mantra of a real gamer is if I ain't learning, it ain't fun.
I don't think any kid is born digitally native. I think kids are born consuming media, but I don't think kids are born producing media. So almost any kid that you look at and you say, oh, wow, this is a great user of digital media, you can trace back. There's a parent, there's a program, there's something that inspired them and developed them.
You know, part of the opportunity here is learning the content, which is very much the 20th century idea around education. But in the 21st century, it's learning the tools and the skills of remaking that content and becoming the creator and the producer.
We know that the learning outside of school matters tremendously for the learning in school. So a lot of what we're trying to say about kids' informal learning with new media is part of an already existing set of understandings that educators have of the importance of the home environment, for the peer environment, for the community, for learning that happens in schools. The question is, how can we be more active about linking those two together?
We just assumed when we opened the school that digital media would be available at all moments. And we have a technology philosophy around bring it out when we need it and put it away when we don't need it. We have a wireless building, the kids use laptops. And the reason we do that is so that we can put them away when it's actually not the best tool for them to be learning with.
We find when we talk about 21st century skills, people often reduce them to skills for the workplace and skills involving technology. And we really are thinking about skills for creativity, for civic engagement, for social life, the full range of experiences that young people will be involved in the future.
I think for teachers and schools and classroom learning, there's still an incredibly important role to play, which is about giving kids access across the board to a baseline set of standards, literacies, expectations about what they need to participate in contemporary society, to be reflective, and to also take opportunity of the fact that you really have kids and adults in a shared space that's safe, that's sanctioned, that gives kids an opportunity to reflect on things in their everyday life. It's not just about them being immersed in it all the time. So I think that there are incredibly important functions for schools. What we're saying by valuing informal learning is not that we should abandon formal learning, but that we should get those working together in a much more coordinated way.
Okay, next that takes us to our next slide, and that's professional learning opportunities for parents and community members. This isn't just about our students and about our school district. This is about the community. And we have Mayor Braun here. I'd like to thank you for being present this evening. But as we drive around, we see a lot of, we've seen a decrease in our student population. What we're trying to do is increase that and help with the village. And by doing that, we've had an increase in our 4th grade this year and our 7th grade because they know that this initiative is going to be started in January. So we hope that that continues to trickle down. We've had many school districts that want to come and visit. We're setting that up for April. It's probably the 2nd week of April, but they will be coming through our schools to see what we're doing with technology, etc. But what we're going to do for the community is we're going to offer professional development or professional learning opportunities. We had one last week. There were about 50 parents that were there, so if any of you were there that are here, thank you very much. But that was something simple on eChalk. We know when your children start in January, you're going to want to know about how do I use an iPad? How do we make an iMovie? You know, what kind of assessments can I help my child with? We're going to help you to learn that as well because you're the biggest stakeholder that we have in this. So that's an opportunity for the parents, and we'll send information out as we have it. Next, our technology rollout. Last January, we went to the Board of Education, and we presented this technology rollout for them, which is included in the 21st Century Learning Initiative. The 21st Century Learning Initiative is all of the big 6 together. Technology just happens to be in there with us. It's a tool that we use. Today is very different. I know when I was in the 4th or 5th grade in elementary, if someone asked me, what is the capital of Iowa, we'd have to memorize that. Now kids don't have to do that because of how the world's changing. They can go to their device, they can go to Google, ask that question, and what will show up will be Des Moines, Iowa. So things are different in how we look. We're looking at more critical thinking and more problem-solving opportunities for our children. So the rollout we presented was that this year our 4th grade classes in all district schools will have a one-on-one iPad. Each child will have that. In addition, all of our 7th graders this year will have an iPad. Next year, it'll be our 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th grade students that will have iPads. If I want to back up, we also have carts or cows, and we have 4 per class or 4 per school. There's 2 cows, and cows is computer on wheels. We have 2 that have iPads. There's 30 in each, and there are 30 laptops